up on AC 24/7, we could be in for some frosty forecasts ahead. NOAA gives us a preview of what they say could be a cold winter. Plus, there's a new report showing inequities in flu shot vaccine distribution. We take a look at why some minority communities are not getting protected from the flu. And we'll get a preview of the 40th annual OutFest Legacy Awards as they prepare to honor big names like Janelle Monáe and shows like Star Trek. Welcome to AC 24/7. I'm Rachel Smith, in today for Stephen Walker. Well, it's still fall technically, but it's beginning to feel a lot like winter. Snow has already fallen in the Midwest, and it's just the beginning. Forecasters at NOAA released their winter weather outlook, and you might want to grab a coat because the Advocate Channel's Ivan Rodriguez has more on what Mother Nature may have in store.
Winter is coming, and Americans in the northern tier of the country should brace themselves for cooler than average conditions, according to NOAA's newly released winter weather outlook.
We are favoring below normal temperatures for that season from the Pacific Northwest across the northern Rockies to the northern plains, further eastward to the western Great Lakes.
Precipitation chances also up for northern states, the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley, that could set the stage for some snow days.
On average over the season, we are favoring generally above normal snowfall in those generally colder and some of the wetter areas.
But not everyone in the U.S. will face a frosty future. Much of the southern half of the country and along the eastern seaboard will likely see warmer than average temperatures due to the anticipated reappearance of La Niña for a third consecutive year. However, La Niña also puts a damper on precipitation. That means places already experiencing extreme drought like the West, Great Plains, and parts of the Southeast could see conditions persist or worsen.
We tend to have drier than normal conditions along the southern tier of the U.S., and so that's why drought expansion is predicted.
But winter weather is fickle. Fluctuations in La Niña, along with changes in Arctic oscillation patterns, are harder to predict. So those wild winter events like polar vortexes and bomb cyclones can still drop in and drop the temperature, despite the current outlook. In Washington, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Starting next year, you could up your retirement savings amount to prepare for life after work. The IRS will let you invest nearly 10% more in 2023. Now that adds up to more than $22,000, $2,000 more than this year. The increase is due to rising inflation over the last few years. There were also changes in federal income tax brackets, which could mean a boost in take-home pay early next year. Well, a federal judge is temporarily blocking New York from restricting guns in places of worship. A New York gun law makes it a felony for someone with a concealed carry license to have their firearm at a place of worship. A judge struck the law down after the Supreme Court's decision changing how judges evaluate gun regulations. The challenge was brought by two religious leaders who wanted to carry their guns on church property. Well, a new government report shows that some minority groups are more likely to be hospitalized for the flu and are also less likely to be vaccinated. The Advocate Channel's Mandy Gaither has more on the CDC report and what some believe needs to be done to break down barriers to vaccination.
Flu season is here with high levels of the illness already reported in Texas, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Washington, D.C., and New York City, according to the CDC.
The vaccine, however, can help prevent severe disease, may help prevent the flu in general.
A new report from the CDC shows flu shot uptake since the 2010-2011 season has been consistently lower among Black and Hispanic adults when compared to white adults. People in those groups were more likely to be hospitalized with flu during most seasons studied. According to the data from 2009 to 2022, flu hospitalizations were 80% higher among Black adults, 30% higher for adults who are American Indian or Alaska Native, and 20% higher for Hispanic adults.
We're talking about things like having to be hospitalized because you can't breathe, your shortness of breath is severe, your headaches are out of control, your fever is really, really high to the point that we worry that is going to cause potentially neurological damage.
The CDC says reasons for the disparities include lack of healthcare access and insurance, misinformation and distrust in vaccines, infections and missed opportunities to get vaccinated. Dr. Barbara Bauer with Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center says more needs to be done to improve access and erase vaccine stigma.
It's educating people on why we give it, educating and showing them potentially data on, how it can improve their chances.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, the CDC says that some racial and ethnic groups also have higher rates of chronic conditions that could also make them more vulnerable to the flu. The agency says it has started programs specifically targeting certain groups, hoping to raise awareness about the importance of vaccines. Well, a lot of fans stayed up really late last night for a very highly anticipated album. You may have heard by now that Taylor Swift released her new album called Midnight. The singer-songwriter said, quote, "Life can be dark, starry, cloudy, terrifying, electrifying, romantic, or lonely, just like Midnight's." This is the 10th studio album for the 11-time Grammy winner. Spotify, of course, saw an overwhelming amount of response, even some outages worldwide. Well, it is OutFest awards season, and we are celebrating all things LGBTQ+ in film and TV. OutFest Executive Director Damian Navarro spoke with our Advocate Channel's Kara Glass about the fundraiser and award show.
The OutFest Legacy Awards are right around the corner, taking place Saturday, October 22nd. It's an annual award show and fundraiser dedicated to celebrating LGBTQ+ people in film and TV. Out Magazine and Out.com are media sponsors for the event, which celebrates its 40th year in 2022. Joining us to discuss the event is the Executive Director of OutFest, Damian Navarro. Damian, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. We're so excited to be partners with this yet again.
This year's award show is part of a larger celebration. It's the 40th anniversary of OutFest. Can you talk about the significance of hitting the milestone?
Any anniversary is a huge accomplishment, but 40 years, I think, is one of those moments in which you not only are looking back, but you're really starting to look forward. And this year in particular is a way in which OutFest is taking stock of not only where we were when we were called to task of how important it was for us to look at not only queer visibility within entertainment, but the importance of how we are supporting artists today and where we might be in 40 years from now. And that's exactly where OutFest is looking at, how we're looking at the programs around film exhibition, preservation, and artist development as we look towards the future.
Well, some amazing artists will be honored at the event this year. For example, Janelle Monáe with the Trailblazer Award. Janelle has done so much for the LGBTQ+ community, but why did OutFest choose her as the honoree?
Well, Janelle has been so outspoken, both in front of the camera, behind the camera, and just in her day-to-day life, as she has gone on her own gender journey, but also really supporting young artists, storytellers across multiple forms of mediums and entertainment, such as music, obviously film and television, that we thought, wow, here is a brave individual that is really living their truth. And what better way to be able to give them this incredible platform that represents so much across arts, media, and entertainment than OutFest Trailblazer Award.
Well, it's going to be a big night for Trekkies as well. Star Trek will be receiving the Visionary Award. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the Visionary Award, Star Trek, if you look back at history, I think really struggled for a long time when it was looking to represent a future that so many of us wanted to find ourselves represented in. And then when you look at this last iteration of the franchise, starting really with Discovery and then ballooning across things like Lower Decks, Picard, and so many of the new television shows, not only are we represented, but we're represented in abundance and across stories in areas that we haven't even seen ourselves in some of the queerest of shows. And that also is being reflected behind camera on these crews, directors. Many of them are actual OutFest alumni. So we thought this was actually one of the most easy choices when it came to looking to one of the recipients of our most prestigious awards that we give around all year round.
Well, in terms of the OutFest fundraising drive, how can people donate and where does the money go?
So people can donate by going to our website, outfest.org, and hitting the Legacy Awards page. Obviously, if they're going to be in attendance that night, on October 29th and October 30th, we are going to be partnering with ABC TV online and digital and social, where people will be able to find an edited version of the show, and they will be directed to donate that evening. After watching the show, they will be able to also go to the Out Museum app, our streaming platform, and be able to watch the show and be able to give that way. There's, of course, lots of different ways to be able to experience the show that we will be happening on this Saturday, October 22nd, and be encouraged to give. Of course, people can give all year round to OutFest. Where does their support go? We have several programs, of course, year round that support goes directly towards. That includes our OutFest Screenwriting Lab, our Outset Young Filmmakers Project, of course, our wonderful film festivals and fan events that go on throughout the year, like our Outfriends events. And then, of course, one of my favorite, our Legacy Project, which is for film preservation and restoration. We've so far preserved and restored nearly 30 feature films, and we've archived almost 40,000 pieces of motion picture content. And that's an incredible feat that we started nearly over 20 years ago.
Well, this all sounds amazing. Thank you so much, Damien. For more on the OutFest Legacy Awards, head to outfest.org.
Thanks so much to Kara and Damien for that. And thank you for joining us for AC 24/7. For more content that advocates for you, go to advocatechannel.com. You can also follow us on all of our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and subscribe on YouTube. For the Advocate Channel, I'm Rachel Smith. Take care.